Today on CityCast Chicago, while you might be out trying some new things, a few courses this restaurant week, we also want to pay tribute to the foods that have been here for us all year round. And whether it's 7 in the morning or 1 in the morning, you can find a spot in Chicago that will sell you amazing tacos. The CityCast team set out to try some of the best tacos the city has to offer, and here's what we found. It's Wednesday, January 24th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. I'm here with executive producer Simone Alicea.
Hey, Jacoby.
And I'm here with producer Michelle Navarro.
Hey, Jacoby.
I feel overwhelmed with just how many options Chicago has. I grew up on the South Side where I just ate Pepe's. If we was getting tacos, we was probably getting Pepe's. And so now that we're having this conversation, I'm realizing I actually don't know if I have a great criteria. I don't know what I'm looking for out of a taco place. I really just want it to taste good more often than not. All right, so let's jump into our list of some of these restaurants that we think in Chicago are doing the taco justice. Let's be real up top. There's no way to make an exhaustive best of list. So many publications, so many influencers, so many people have tried, and we are trying as well. But remember, if you got a recommendation, if you got a place that wasn't on this list, hit us up. We gonna be eating tacos all year. There are plenty of us for Do This Again. So if you didn't hear one that you like, reach out to us. But this is our list, and each of us are gonna go through. We went to about 3 or 4 restaurants apiece, and we're gonna go one by one with our lowest ranking and make our way up to the best taco we had over the last few days. We're going to start with EP Simone Alicea. What was the third best taco you had on your personal tour?
Okay, caveat up top. I did not eat one bad taco in this adventure. I want to make that very clear. So this third place is still very good. It just wasn't the most impressive of the 3 that I went to. And that is Taqueria El Asadero in Lincoln Square, Ravenswood. It's on Montrose, just west of Lincoln. So this is a spot that is on a few different best of lists. I was really excited about it. It was really busy when I went in on a Sunday night. So that I think boded well. This is a cash only spot, very kind of neighborhood spot. I got at all 3 places, I got 1 steak taco, 1 El Pastor taco, and then 1 sort of special, whatever kind of looked good on the menu. And here it was a lengua, a cow tongue taco. And all 3 tacos were fine. They were extremely serviceable. They were your classic, this is what you think of when you think of a taco, right? Like the steak taco was really good. It was well charred. It's kind of what they're known for. It was my favorite. And I think the most classic El Pastor taco that I had of the 3. You could taste the pineapple. It was a really good marinade. The lengua taco was a little more disappointing. I didn't think it wasn't seasoned the way I would have liked. And it actually kind of felt like there was too much of it. In my opinion, it was a little too big, but a really solid pick. I took sort of the north side here. And I think the north side maybe has a little more to live up to when it comes to, the best tacos in Chicago, particularly a spot like Lincoln Square, Ravenswood, where maybe it's not maybe where you're expecting sort of the most authentic, the real sort of winners. But I think this is a really solid showing. I also think the price is right. It was about, it was under $5 a taco, about $4 a taco. I was looking at some old reviews from like 2018, and they used to be under $3. So that inflation is real.
It's real.
But, I think, like I said, a very solid spot. Would be great to stop in at lunch if you're out shopping in that area and you're looking for something warm, something quick. Also, the horchata really slapped. Like that was a great accompaniment. And so highly recommend that as well.
Beautiful. Michelle, let's kick it over to you. Coming in third place. Again, probably all great tacos you had, but what's third on your list?
So my mission was to go to taquerias that have like a market, because growing up, we're going to run errands and we're going to get tacos. And that's why I was like, wanted to go run errands with my parents. And especially because like a lot of the places that I list, they import or like they deal with their meat, they deal with their ingredients. So because I'm like, I'm looking at quality, I was like, oh, I kind of like the fact that they handle their meat, they butcher it, they get it from beginning to end. And so my third spot that I had was La Casa del Pueblo Taqueria in Pilsen. And so across the street, they have a really old La Casa del Pueblo supermarket. I think the market's from the 60s. But yeah, when you go in there, it's cafeteria style. And so they have different kind of options of like what kind of tacos you have. And so I had 2 tacos. One was of potatoes and chorizo, and the other one was cheese and peppers. And they were both really good. I also had them in the morning, which I think added because it just felt like such a breakfast taco. It wasn't my favorite of the 3 that I had. And like I said, it seemed like a very like homey meal, but I wasn't like surprised. But yeah, that spot is a classic, really old in the neighborhood. You walk in there, you're gonna see like older folks hanging out, drinking coffee. And like I said, it gives a very cafeteria vibe. You walk in, you're gonna get your food fast because they already have everything kind of like hot and ready for you, which I really love.
I went on my own personal taco tour on Monday night, and it's me. So I went to 4 places. So I'm going to start off with my number 4 and my number 3. So the first place I went to was Atotonilco in Back of the Yards. I know that their original spot is in Little Village. I know that a lot of the tortillas are made inside of their manufacturing plant. And this was 4th for me. Hey, I appreciated the portion sizes. I got a carne, I got a lamb taco, and I got a bean taco as well, right? And so every spot I went to, I tried to get one sort of meat and then one sort of non-meat taco as well. For me, I thought they had one of the best salsas. It was like a brown salsa. I'm not exactly sure how they made it, but it was fire. Unfortunately, it was the last place I went to. And so I was a little full at this point. So I didn't immediately break into it. And so by the time I ate it, it might have been maybe 45 minutes to an hour later. And so at that point, it was hard to judge just how good the tortilla and the steak it was. But I will say of all of them, the heftiest taco that I got, great salsa. But when I did bite it, it wasn't my favorite seasoned steak or lamb. And the tortilla wasn't my favorite. And so
what was your third one?
Cleanly in third place for me was Birria Zaragoza in Archer Heights. This was the only birria taco I have, and they only sell goat tacos here. That's all you can get from here. One, I want to compliment the customer service. Going at night, this was the restaurant that closed the earliest, and they closed at 6 p.m. And I called them at like 5:45. They had already stopped taking online orders. And so I called, the guy answered, and he was so nice. I told him I was on my way, that I'd love to order. He asked me, how soon can you be there? I said, I'm gonna get there right when you close at 6. And he said, hey, no problem. Come along. We got you. I walked in. He obviously knew who I was immediately because I had just called. And he's just like, Jacoby, you sounded hungry on the phone. So we took care of you. Very flavorful. Cheesy. Without the consomme, the cheese kind of overtakes it a little bit and kind of overshadows the goat just a bit. When you're eating birria tacos, they typically dip the tortilla in the consomme and then put it on the grill. So it was fantastic. But it was good, but I do prefer just a simpler taco. Simone, let's kick it back to you. What took number 2 on your list?
I went to a spot in Edgewater that is kind of very out of the way. It's up, it's right off of Clark on a street called Elmdale. So it's like on a side street. Like you really kind of have to know what you're looking for. And it's called Huaraches Doña Chio. And this is a spot that was on a few best of lists, and I think for very, very good reason. Their tacos are served on these homemade corn tortillas that I think were by far the best tortillas I had of all the 3 spots. They were so good, just so well made, like solid, chewy. But the The kicker is they're massive. Their tacos are huge. They're really, really, really big. Probably like almost twice the size of what you would expect from your average food truck taco, right?
Does that take away from the snackable quality that you really love?
Only reason. Yeah. It's the only reason they're in second place. It really, really is, because the fillings it was by far the best steak taco I had. And I had the pastor taco was okay. It was a little too porky. It wasn't as sort of zippy as I would like, not as much pineapple as I would like. The steak was very good. It was very high quality. The pork was very high quality. The third one I had was chicharrone in like a green sauce. It was like pigskin, right, in green sauce. And it was just like, also very, very high quality. It was one of these places that like, they did things, it was something very simple, executed kind of perfectly.
I like that.
And my only issue is that like, realistically, I could get through 1.5 tacos.
I just seen you take down some 8 wings, G. That says a lot about how big them tacos
They're really
is.
big and there's a lot of meat. That said, I did take them home and they kept remarkably well.
And tortillas they do not reheat well all the time.
They're gonna be soggy. Mm-hmm. They're gonna rip. They're gonna feel rubbery. Like it's just not a good, good thing.
In my ideal, right, when you reheat a tortilla, like you want to do it kind of on the pan. If you can add back a little water, like you like take a wet paper towel and like steam a little bit, right?
If you're like, for me, like if I'm gonna commit to reheating a taco, like I rather just separate it, take out the meat,
that's exactly what I did.
Recook the tortilla and then like assemble it together.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I did, and it kept remarkably well. Yeah, really only like truly I think when it comes to tortilla, meat, ingredients, flavor, I think probably the best taco, the most classic, the taco-iest taco, so to speak. But it just missed that sort of snackable quality that I really want, and that would just come if they were a little bit smaller. But that doesn't mean they're not good. Like if you want a big taco, like
I was gonna say,
go there. It's really good.
Michelle, we're gonna come back to your list. You went to Pilsen for your first taco. What neighborhood is next for you, and what's the second restaurant?
Okay, so for the next spot, I went to Back of the Yards, and I went to La Internacional Supermercado. So basically supermarket. Like I said, I'm going on a like market theme. So when you walk into supermarket, you walk to the back, there's a counter where you get your tacos at. This spot did so well that they ended up, opening a couple other locations under the name of Paco's Tacos. They're well known for all their tacos, really. Like they don't have a specific. I got 2 tacos. One was the classic carne asada, so like grilled steak. And the other one was al pastor, which is like shepherd style marinated pork. And they were both so good. Almost tied with my number one. The taco portions, like the tortilla was like a decent size. The tortilla was really good, and they did so with portion. Like they really be adding that meat on to the point where and they have the salsa on the counter, so you can really go to town with those too. It's one of those tacos where like the tortilla doesn't rip on you. Like you'll finish the taco, but you'll have meat left over, and you just go over the counter, ask for a fork. Just ask for a fork and just eat the rest with the cilantro and the onion and the salsa, and it is incredible.
What put it into second place for you then?
Man, once I start talking
this
about
this, I was going to say this ain't about bad defense. This is just about good offense.
I see.
It's just such a classic taco that you can see in your brain. Every time I go here, they do not miss. So yeah, just a great taco all around.
My number 2 is 5 Rabanitos in Pilsen. And this was one that came up. I'd ask some friends. I'd be taking the list that we get and then cross-checking them to Reddit, because people will tear apart a good or bad list on Reddit. And this is one that a lot of people consistently spoke well about. And, it held up. I got 1 steak taco and I got 2 veggie tacos. The steak taco, again, very classic. It was packed with onion, a little bit of cilantro, and a good amount of radish. The steak wasn't as, I imagine, juicy as it might have been earlier in the day, but it still held up. It wasn't like too gummy or rubbery or anything. But what I really wanted to talk about was how impressive the veggie tacos are. Because let's be real. When people say they're going to do veggie or vegan tacos, usually they treat you real bad. They give you a couple onions, some cilantro, maybe some peppers. Maybe they'll do beans and cheese. You know, you really hitting if they do you some nopales or something, right? Then you're really good. But this one had peppers, it had onions, it had potato, it had a protein source in mushroom, right? I feel like there were little maybe dices of squash. It might have been something else, but it had some cauliflower bits in there. And so the veggie mix from taco to taco was inconsistent because it was probably just a big vat of roasted and grilled veggies, but it was very good, very hefty. And, you know, if you are actually looking for non-meat tacos, this is a place that's not going to skimp you on those. But I feel the same way Michelle felt. For me, my number one was just so clear. And so number 2 was great. 3 and 4, solid tacos. But I am excited to talk about number 1. But we're going to get it started with you, Simone. What was the one that, you know, in this mini tour that you did across 3 neighborhoods, what was the one that sort of grabbed you the most?
This was a big upset, I gotta say. Like, I did not expect this. This is not what I thought would happen as I'm sitting here in front of the microphone right now. But my number 1 is Don Buccio's Taqueria in Logan Square, which is a vegan taqueria in Logan Square.
Man, I know everybody listening. Some folks listening mouth wild like that. I know Kobe just talked about them veggie tacos, but like this what they known for? This wasn't just like one of the options?
Okay. So here's what. So number 1, I wanted to include like a veggie vegan spot just for the sake of comparison. I also wanted to include a spot like somewhere in like Logan, Bucktown, Wicker, right? Like there are a lot of sort of newer, maybe more fusion, maybe, you know, hipper kind of taco spots that are different from like the classic taco. And I wanted to compare, like, do they actually hold up? Like, are they worth the hype? Don Buccio's is absolutely worth the hype. It was so good. So right now they are carry out only. They have been carry out only since the start of the year. But what we did is we ordered ahead of time, ordered online, and then took the tacos across the street to Hopewell Brewery, right across the street on Milwaukee. And we got there. So we got the equivalent of the asada taco, which in this case was mushrooms. It was seasoned so well, so flavorful. It doesn't taste like steak. Veggies are never gonna they're never gonna taste like meat.
Trick you into eating plant-based food.
No, but it is so good on its own. The pastor is sort of this mix of legumes and root vegetables that have the like pastor seasoning and with these pickled onions on top. The tortillas are also homemade with the blue corn, which is just like visually really striking. They are like kind of the perfect vehicle for these like little flavor bombs, like. And then the last one I had was essentially like a hot fried cauliflower, like a cauliflower wing kind of with these homemade pickles. And the cauliflower was perfect. Like, don't you hate it when you get like fried cauliflower and it's like mushy or something like in your mouth, right? Mm-hmm. These were perfect. They had a bite to it that felt like it did almost kind of feel like chicken. You know what I mean? Like it almost kind of had that resistance to it. And this was the taco that after I ate 3 of them, I wanted a 4th one. You know what I mean? This was the one where I really wanted to keep going. And maybe that's because they're vegan. Was the
4th one affordable?
So these were the most expensive tacos. Okay. These were over $5, over $6 a taco. But people gonna be like, why y'all ain't go to the taco man, the taco truck? I passed a few. I considered it. But this is the thing, is like the flavor was so good and it just was so snackable and I just wanted more of it. And that is the feeling I was looking for in this whole experience. This is from a James Beard nominated chef who's got a vegan kitchen, Bloom. This is a spot that opened up last year. I do think it's worth it. And yeah, just a really great overall. I did not think I would be coming here onto the show to be like, yeah, my best taco was a vegan taco in Logan Square, but it was.
I will say that is even a higher compliment, because I'm not saying you went in with like haterade on your spirit or nothing, but you went in expectations low. Like, all right, I'm going here because I want to get this extra option. You wasn't expecting it to smack the other two. And so I think that is an even bigger compliment to Don Buccio.
It's really good. I recommend it. And like I said, a little bit of a lighter experience, maybe because, there's no animal protein, right? I think maybe that makes that snacking even easier. So joke's on me, right?
Michelle, you was waiting to get to this one. You was waiting to get to your number one. It was like 2 and 3 was solid, but you'll know once I get here what made number one on your small tour.
Number one was Carniceria Maribel in Pilsen. And this spot I had heard from a couple people, but never got to try myself. So I was really excited that I get to try it for the first time. Similar, like I said, to my other spots, it is a market. You walk to the back, and again, there's like a small counter. You go up to the person, to the cooks in the back, and they're really well known for their grilled steak, just carne asada. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I got there. And it was one of the best steak tacos I think that I've ever had. Definitely top one of the best. It was just, the meat was seasoned so well. It was charred perfectly. Like, it just had such a good, just simple taco, 2 tortillas. The meat to the tortilla was like a great proportion. Mm-hmm. But it is a hefty taco.
Places you went gave you some, like, stacked your tacos, G.
I mean,
like, that's the shout out to the grocery stores.
That's because again, this is their product, and I feel like because they probably get it at a better rate, because it is their product, mm-hmm. That they're getting it without it being butchered, they're getting it without it being seasoned. That I think, one, they have more control over, again, how it's being sliced, how it's being treated, how it's being seasoned and marinated. But yeah, they be giving you like a hefty amount, and that's, to me, like we were just talking about how tacos nowadays are either a little under $5 or you're paying way more than $5 for one. And so it's like, if I'm gonna go to a spot, I don't want them to skip me out. But yeah, it's a family owned carniceria and licoreria, which means they sell alcohol inside. And so, if you want to complete the experience, you want to get you a little tall boy, a little 40, no one's going to judge. I was working though, so I did not, because this was obviously I was working. I ended up getting a squirt, which is a Mexican grapefruit soda, which I love. The meats that they offer, they not only sell them in tacos, you can have them similar to a lot of places. There are a lot of Mexican restaurants. You can get it in a torta or a quesadilla. I want to go back there, and I want to have that carne asada. I want to have that grilled steak in every form I can, every variation. I want to have a burrito. I want to have a torta. I want to have a tostada. Whatever they can give me with that meat, I will have it, because that's how good that meat was. Definitely recommend to check it out. It's in Pilsen on Cermak and Wood Street. They have a beautiful mural of like a huge fuchsia wall and a mural of Selena that I think is beautiful. And of course, Selena, Mexican American icon that she is, and it's a gorgeous mural. But yeah, that spot, number one in my heart for sure.
I will end us out. The last spot on my list, it was located in Little Village. Asian Cuisine Express. I get it. Maybe you've heard of it and you like, yes, Kobe, put that one on the list. People be sleeping. Or maybe you are confused at what I'm talking about right now. Because, as the name suggests, they sell Thai food, Chinese food, a selection of Japanese dishes as well. But they also, especially on Mondays, is cranking out that al pastor tacos. Mondays, they're $1. And so not only did I pick up 2 of the al pastor tacos, I got a shrimp taco and I got a fish taco. Now, let me start a few places because there's a lot going on here. One, I did place my order online. I came into the restaurant. So eclectic. You look around and it's like figurines for sale. It looks like a restaurant that decorated in similar ways that you might see a Chinese restaurant in Chinatown. And it looked like all they were making were tacos on that day. I ain't see no pad thai being made. I ain't see no fried rice being made. I didn't see no sushi being cut up. They was in there getting the tortillas to work. There were like a family of 15 having dinner next to me. It was so cool. The jugs of horchata that were sitting there. And then the food actually got to me. Dog. Not only the best tortillas I had, the best al pastor I had. It was the best fish and shrimp taco I've ever eaten in my life.
Wow.
What?
The fish taco was such a big piece. It was fried to perfection. The cream sauce or the crema that was on top of it was to die for. And the way they packaged it, they gave it to you on a little plate. They gave you like a whole baggie of guac. They gave you each taco came with like 3 sauces. Like each one had like 2 cut up limes in it. And then they gave you a whole bag of seasoned onions, carrots, and radishes. It was the most shocked I was ever walking into a restaurant from what I knew I was there to get and sort of what like the just very like just the diverse environment you're taking in. And so I looked it up, and it was featured in a Chicago Magazine article a few years ago about the best restaurants hidden inside another restaurant. And
right, it's a taco restaurant hidden inside an
Exactly.
Asian
Cuisine
restaurant.
restaurant. Wow.
But apparently the owners of Asian Cuisine Express had tasted this chef's tacos in a pop-up and was like, you want to come make these out the restaurant? You want to come slaying these out the joint? And you walk in and the al pastor sitting on the spigot. They don't just rotate it all day. They wait for you to come. Then they fire it up. That flame hits it. And they cut you off perfectly charged. You could taste the seasoning. We smashed those tacos. Absolutely smashed them. It was, of all the places, it was the one that when we were done, we were like, yes, we need to go back, sit down, and take in the entirety of this experience from the people working here to the way the restaurant is set up. And then ultimately the food was like, I ate it and I didn't have to question it. I was like, this is tacos. This is
Chicago also.
Yeah,
like what a
exactly.
like
And this is Chicago without a doubt. Without a doubt. It was one of the coolest restaurant experience I ever had, and I was both glad that I had slept on it for so long because it meant
you got to experience it new for the first time.
I got to and I didn't over research it. I wasn't like didn't look up pictures or anything. I was just like, hey, this comes up a lot. People have talked about this. I'm gonna just stop in, and there was no way to prepare for this Chicago ass experience in Little Village. It was quintessentially Chicago, and I promise you, I know that the Asian food is just as fuck. I know it slapped just as good. And so I need to go back and get everything together. I need fried rice next to the tacos. But yes, Asian Cuisine Express off of 31st and a couple of blocks off of Pulaski. Should definitely check it out. It was also the most packed one I went to. People were sitting in there waiting. So I know it was good from the moment I walked in. And again, Mondays, dollar tacos, y'all. I want to give a huge thank you to our executive producer, Simone Alicea.
Thanks, Abe.
Our producer, Michelle Navarro.
Thank you
for going on this mini taco tour around Chicago with me and all of you who are listening. Again, if you heard restaurants that you love visiting in our list, reach out to us and let us know. If you didn't hear your favorite taco spot on, don't come for us. Just inform us. Reach out to us at 773-780-0246. Leave us a text and a voicemail with your name, your neighborhood, and your recommendation. You can always hit us up in our DMs on social media. And I promise you, 2024 just getting started. We are going to be back with another round of taco tours with all new spots. And so hopefully that next list is helped curated by you. Before we let you go, make sure you're tapped in with all that CityCast Chicago has to offer. You can learn more at our website, chicago.citycast.fm. While you're there, subscribe to our daily newsletter, Hey Chicago, and consider becoming a member of CityCast Chicago. Now, I know you're waiting for one thing before you get up out of here, so I got you. Some good news. Next Sunday, February 4th, Karaoke Storytellers is back, and for the first time ever, we're at Lincoln Hall. But hey, in addition to bringing you some amazing storytellers, some amazing singers, we're doing something special. Doors open at 6 p.m., and if you come early, you can meet the entire CityCast Chicago team and play a round of Chicago trivia. Then you can stick around and see the show. Check the link in the show notes for more information. As always, we appreciate you for listening and reading. We're going to be back bright and early tomorrow morning. We'll talk to you then. Peace. Y'all finna be killing my pronunciation, G. Just say that up top.
I mean, we'll see how it goes. My Spanish is mostly non-existent, so we'll
yeah,
see
but it worked when it was just me and you. Now Michelle in this motherfucker.
I know. Now we have someone who actually speaks Spanish.
Rolling R's and shit.
We'll practice.